Data analysis is not about computers. It is about understanding what is already happening in your business. This dashboard answers some business questions that most small businesses in Kenya already have, but do not know how to ask. You remember you remember this data. Remember this data and various questions that we ought to answer using this data. So the dashboard here tries to answer these questions. So basically, let's rush through the various questions and try to answer them using this dashboard. So the first question was, which product is making money? Which product is making money? There are various products, and we would want to know which one is making money. For instance, if you check this graph here, it's telling us the sugar is making you are getting a lot of revenue from sugar, followed by airtime, bread, milk, and soda. So using this information, you are now knowledgeable about which one is really making money. But out of these product, which one is now making profit? Now this graph here tries to answer this. Overall, for one month, sugar made this much profit. Bread was the second, followed by milk, soda, and then airtime. So we can be able to know which one is making money and which one is making profit. The next question that we ought to answer, which product should I restock first? Then using these two graphs, you see this sample shop or this sample business really needs to have sugar at any time, because sugar is the one that is being sold. You are getting a lot of revenue from it, and still that is the one that you are getting a lot of profit from. So at any given time, you need to always have sugar in your business. So the next question was, which day do I sell more? So using the data, we can be able to graph the total revenues over time. So basically, we can see at this day, specific day here, this is Friday, January 9. That was the day when the most revenue was collected. That was the most day when the revenue was collected. So for that one month, we can see during this day, I did more sales. I did more sales. Then the next question would be, yes, if I'm making sales, which product are giving issues without my knowledge? Let's take, for instance, we can see from this graph, yes, we are making sales. This is amount of money, irrespective whether it is profit or loss from airtime. But we can see from this point here, airtime is not giving us a lot of profit. Even if we are selling it, it's not giving us a lot of profit. So for maybe business expansion, we need to really either look away of increasing the number of customers who are buying airtime so that we increase the profit, or try to do away with it and then concentrate with sugar and bread. This is in this typical kiosk. So milk, yes, is we are getting a lot of we are getting some revenue from it, but the profit is relatively small. Also, that comes from soda. So For these two products, milk and soda, we can say, yes, they are good, they are sustaining the business, but our major focus now should be either sugar or bread. Then, this dashboard here, we can try to look at the product wise. Let's see. We have seen sugar is making a lot of profit. Let's see how it performs. Sugar. So in that 1 month, there were total 40 customers or total 40 transactions that were made, and the total profit was this, and revenue per transaction in each of these 40 transactions, we were getting at an average of this much per transaction. Then the units sold were this, you see. So let's try to see how was it performing throughout that 1 month. We can see there is a tendency of an increasing trade. Yes, over the time we can see this is increasing. Interestingly, the second last date, actually we got the highest revenue. So that tells us that the business, sugar is not doing wrong. It's actually doing well. And over time, if maybe this typical shop tries to work around the pricing, we can see the sugar, we can really get a lot from this sugar. Now we can compare this to any other date. We can compare this to any other date. We can also compare it to the start of this month, and we see at the start the total revenue was 1500, but as we continue the last date, we have seen it is 1800. So the sugar is what is really performing. Let's try to look another product like airtime. We have seen airtime, yes, we are getting a lot, but there is no good profit from it. The total transaction are 40, the total units is 727. Yes, there is a possibility of increasing revenue. So this is what I said. You need to keep track of each and every product. How is it performing? You see this dotted line? It shows the overall trend. Now, let's try to look at a specific date. Let's try to look at a specific date. For instance, this is a general overview for that 1 month, and we have seen this date is January 9th, and it is Friday, January 9th. We try to look at that date. This one here. This one. In this typical day, there were only 5 transactions in this shop. The total profit was this. This was the total amount of revenue. Ido pesa yenye ilikolektiwa that date. This was the total revenue. Even if there were 5 transactions or 5 customers, we can say there were 126 units sold overall. Which were these units that were performing well? We can see in this specific date, soda, we actually sold that. Milk, we actually sold 29. And sugar, there were no, the number of customers were not that good, that many, and that of bread. And then we can see airtime was the one that was doing well. At that specific date, there were 3 in stock. But at, when we were closing that day, we only had 5. So that means in the next date, we need to restock that airtime. Are we together? In that date, we need to restock because the airtime at this specific date, they were 33, but the closing stock was 5. But if you try to look at milk, or let's say bread, when opening the business in that specific date, we had 51 breads, but in the evening we were able to sell and left with that 3. So we can buy, we can either restock or try to not to restock, so that we sell this in the following date. So that this is what I say, the essence of having your data slide. So stay tuned as we continue with this.